Have you ever wondered how most of your favorite products achieve eye-catching colors, but also like balanced color palettes? Well, this lies behind the rule called the 60-30-10% color rule. And this is a design principle that was developed way back in the architecture space as a way of designing interiors that are well balanced in terms of color harmony. And today in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can really pick up this technique as a beginner, and you can learn how to apply this technique within your designs to take them from like just looking amateur to some level of professionalism. What's up, my wannabe designers? So if you're someone who is intimidated by color, today in this video I'm gonna show you some of the techniques you can leverage using the 60-30-10% rule to improve your designs. So to kick off, I have some examples that we're just gonna go through a couple websites that are using this rule, and later on we'll dive into Figma and I show you how you can reverse engineer different websites to understand how they're using this rule so that you can really apply it to your own designs. So one example I have here is IBM. As we can see that there's some sort of like really intelligence in how they're using color. And then Apple, we can see that it's quite different from what IBM is doing, but still you will see that like there is not a lot going on here. So we're gonna see how, you know, the proportions of color, the percentages really come into the picture. And then the other example that I think we're gonna be playing with is this other website called Karen.so. So essentially, I think it's an HR, one of those HR tools that are popping up everywhere. It's well designed, I really like it. So I'm just gonna hop into Figma really quick. I have all these websites really in Figma. And essentially what we're gonna try to do is try to see how this rule of 60%, 30%, and 10% color rule comes into the picture for existing websites. So we're gonna try reverse engineer this. So to start off, I'm just gonna draw a full frame right here. So this frame is gonna be almost like the entire width of these websites. So we're gonna focus on the hero section just to really get a picture of how the idea works. So I'll maybe try to round off this thing entirely. And I had already worked on the proportions. So if you divide like 1440 into you know, these proportions, I have a tool here, like 60% of that width would be 86. And I'm not saying that this is how you should do it, but I'm just trying to like do some quick maths of all the percentages. So I think this will be 60%, 60%. And then the other one would be 30%, and then the other one would be, you know, 10%. Right, so one other thing that I'll do, I'll just bring this proportion of, you know, 30%, bring one for 10% as well. So essentially these are our proportions by size. So the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna try look at this entire website and try to sample the colors. So I'll go ahead and hide all these other, you know, interface to, you know, to create more space for our exploration. So to start off, like, I want you to use your eye to see what really is the greater proportion in terms of these colors. And according to me, this lemon green comes off like the 60%, so I'll sample that. So the next color into this hierarchy would be the black. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sample the black because I see quite a lot of black, like all the text is black, there's a black button. And then in terms of the accent, in this case, I'll choose the blue. And it's quite confident to say that this is the palette they chose to use. So in this palette, they chose to go with this sort of like proportions for each color. So if this is the entire palette, like how do you use it? And we're gonna see maybe in a moment how you can like take the same palette but like use you know, the rules of color to just like have different directions. So I'm gonna copy this and try to maybe also see what exactly IBM really did with their proportions. So in this case, I'm looking at the entire IBM design, and I would say white might be the dominant color here. And then similar to black, I would say, because I see like there's quite a lot of black going compared to like the blue. And usually you have to really draw those parallels. You have to look at the color that is well extremely used versus the other, and that's how really the harmony comes in. So I would say this is the palette. I'll sample this exact blue, and then I'll sample this exact black. And essentially this is it for IBM, right? You will see that there's quite a level of difference on how everyone is using this principle. But I'm just gonna maybe also do the same for Apple. So just observing Apple right off the bat, you can see that like the gray is the dominant color, followed by this black. And maybe let me try to bring in more of the Apple website here. You can see that like the blue still is that accent. So I'll just go ahead and sample that. So essentially this is just to give you some confidence that the principle is used by senior designers in the industry, the guys who work on these extremely professional websites. And one thing that you will take away from this is they might not really actively do it, that they have like their percentages defined on the side, but as you do it like for the long time, you start to realize that this comes naturally. So one thing I'm gonna do just to help you at least understand how you can take this principle and improve your designs. So we're gonna take this vibrant example, move it on the side here, and we're gonna try experiment with this with different proportions of the same color palette. Remember, what we're trying to achieve here is color harmony. This principle does only one job. It helps you really nail that color balance without being a professional. So we're gonna make these copies and try different iterations of the same design. So what if we wanted to have like white as our, dominant color? So color white becoming the dominant color, it sets the tone of the entire design, maybe followed by blue. Let's try blue, and then I'll just keep it black. Let's try white, black, and blue, and then we try maybe blue, white, and that. So what if we take the same palette, but like maybe switch it up like this way? In this case, I'll start off and say, so since this is white, let me bring up my settings quick. So if this is white, I'm just gonna go and sample that white right there. Just give me a second. Sample that white. Sample this white. So you can see that with our proportions, like we've decided to make white the dominant color. Like we've given white 60%, so I'll maybe make this black, and then maybe give the accent to, in this case the accent is blue, so I'll keep it blue, and maybe these other ones can also lean in towards the blue side. So if this is blue, and maybe I can take down just a second, can sample, maybe move it towards the blue side of. All right, so this is iteration 1. So the other version would be this. So taking this and make like blue our dominant color would mean us trading off like this lemon green with the blue. And in this case, I could change the black to white. So I'm gonna try maybe take this black, make it white, and then take this, make it gray, white. Maybe move it close to the blues. Some sort of yes. Okay, let me come. Something like that. I could move it towards the blues. So in this case, you could see how you could play with the color, keeping like the original palette, but like all you're doing is like wiggling through different directions. So in this case, like we could turn our tabs to white, make this black. Okay, so if all our text is that, maybe make this. I'm gonna make this, let's say, white, and then this blue, and this becomes white, and this becomes white. So we have our accent as green, so we're gonna bring in that green again. Just just a second, and then the text becomes black. Sample it right there. Alright, so with this example, you can see that as a beginner, you can take your design from something that looks like this to something that looks like this with less effort. And it helps really retain this nuance of balance without overthinking or even like knowing any principle of color. So visual balance is what we're trying to achieve with any design. And there are so many different elements that can help you have like visual balance, but color is one of the most things that stands out right out of the gate. So this principle only helps you have the proportions defined. So if you have a palette of 3 colors, all you have to do is like use these as templates to know which percentage goes into the other. And you can just keep swapping these colors around to see what really works and relates to you as a designer. Alright, my wannabe designers, that's it for this video. And if you found it useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with the rest of your friends so that they can find this amazing content. And other than that, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.